Hey, welcome back to Heal the New Sexy. My name is Cynthia. Today I want to talk about dating as a visionary woman. I saw a post, I think a couple of days ago, by a man called David Burris on Instagram, and he talked about a visionary wife. And it kind of like sparked something in me because it's very difficult to date if you are a visionary woman. And I want to talk about what a visionary woman is. And I also want to give you some tips or big sister advice on what you should be doing in your dating process, especially if you have a visionary woman. Now, right now, we see Kamala Harris is running for president. So if you're watching this video years from now, this video is in October 2024. And right now we are in the middle of a presidential election and we have Kamala Harris running for president and she's married, right? She is what I would identify as a visionary woman. A visionary woman has a vision for her life, a vision that is bigger than herself. And if you're watching this video, you probably are a visionary woman. You probably have a movement on the inside of you. You probably know that you're supposed to create schools or a nonprofit or a Fortune 500 business. Like, you know that there is something great on your life, and you have to be very cautious about who you date and especially who you marry. Okay, so a visionary woman knows she has a vision. She knows what her purpose is. She knows what direction her life is going. She knows what she was called and created to do on the earth. She knows that she is a woman of influence and impact. That is a visionary woman. This is not just about status. This is really about influence. She's really a social, she really will have social impact. She will change, whether it's in Hollywood, whether it's in education, whether it's in healthcare. This could be a woman who finds the cure to cancer. This could be a woman that is just her, whatever God put her on the earth to create will have a positive ripple effect. Okay, that is a visionary woman. That woman has to be very cautious and intentional about who she is dating and also who she goes into covenant with as it relates to marriage. One frustration I have as a therapist, I see very intelligent, very vivacious women connect themselves and their lives to men that don't have the ability to cover them. David Burris does chapel, and he did this teaching on Proverbs 31, which was phenomenal. I grew up Church of God in Christ, and I grew up like every woman's service has something to do with the Proverbs 31 woman. I'm going to do another video about how I hated the Proverbs 31 woman. And it was really because of well, I won't get into that here, but subscribe and I will do that video because I think in the church we glamorize the Proverbs 31 woman and there's some key elements that we miss. But in his teaching as it relates to Proverbs 31 woman, he talked about that her husband has to be a covering and not a lid. And what that means is a lid, like this is my coffee from earlier, a lid contains whatever is on the inside of it. It contains it. A covering, on the other hand, will move with it. It's just like when you put a covering on at night, the covering doesn't restrict you. When you move, that covering moves. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't need, when you're dating, you need to identify if that man is going to be a lid for you, if he's going to try to contain you, because you know you have a purpose on your life. You have a vision. You know that you are supposed to find the cure to HIV/AIDS. You know you're supposed to find the cure to cancer. You know that you're supposed to have curriculums in schools that change the trajectory of the prison to pipeline, the public school to prison pipeline agenda. You know that's on the inside of you. And if you connect to a man that's a lid, you will not be able to do the things that you were called and created to do. So when you are a visionary woman, you need to ensure that the man that you are dating, okay, he has the propensity to cover all of you, that you don't have to kind of dumb yourself down to be with him. That is a terrible thing for a woman, to be called to greatness, to dumb herself down in order to get a ring. And I've seen many women shrink themselves in order to get a ring, in order to be married. But God is going to hold you accountable to what he put on the inside of you. If you remember in the Bible, it talks about the talents and about how I forget what they call him in the parable, but he gave one talent, another 3 talent, and another 5 talent, if I remember correctly. And then when they multiplied it, he said, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Sorry about that. My video cut out for a second. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. God is going to hold you accountable for what he put in you. Okay. And we can't go to God at the end of our life and say, well, Lord, I married this man and he didn't allow me. He's going to be like, but I put it in you. I put greatness in you. I put a movement in you. I put influence in you. I put philanthropy in you. I put it in you because it was needed. So as a visionary woman, you have to be protective of your purpose and your call and what God created you to do. I am a licensed clinical social worker. Every day I work with men and women who have experienced trauma. God holds me accountable to that. If I marry a man and he's like, oh, well, I really don't want you to be a therapist anymore. What, sir? Excuse me? Huh? But I should already know that in dating. The women I work with, I tell them, I said, I want you to look at your dating life as this. Sometimes in a company, sorry, someone texted me. Sometimes in a company, companies are looking for a CEO. That CEO, they interview the CEO. You need to be looking at this like, can this person lead me? And what is the evidence that this person has the ability and capability to lead me? Every CEO, unless they start the business and found the business, other Fortune 500 CEOs, they have to be interviewed. Sis, what is your interview process? How are you interviewing and vetting the men that you are with? Or do you shrink yourself when they have the conversation about marriage? Does their vision and your vision complement each other, even in dating? Do you trust them to be able to lead you? You have a vision for your life. Sometimes one of the injustices of growing up in the church is that it's almost as if you have this whole life and then you get married and that life is supposed to die. And that's the farthest from the truth. Even when you get married, you still have the responsibility of the purpose that God created in you. Wife is not your only purpose if you desire marriage. It's not your only purpose. Mother is not your only purpose. There is a time and a season for that. And I hope you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Because our children, they're with us from 0 to 18 or maybe a little bit longer in college. And then they go off to do their own job. So their own life and fulfill their own purpose. So what will you do? What will you be doing after you've raised your children? Are you to be a foster mother? Are you supposed to shake up the foster care system? What are you supposed to be doing? But sometimes in church, we idolize marriage and we idolize getting that ring and that becomes, oh, I'm a wife. But you're more than that. Maybe you were called to be the governor. Maybe you were called to be a senator. Maybe that's what you were called and created to do. But if you let go, if you let your purpose die, first of all, you will be unfulfilled. You will be unfulfilled. You will be always thinking there must be more. You may even begin to resent the man who you said I do to. Why? Because in your dating process, you didn't do your due diligence. You have to know that that man has the capability and the capacity to cover you, to cover your purpose, to cover your vision, to cover your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations. Maybe you are an inventor. Maybe you're into science. Maybe you are in AI and you're supposed to be doing all, listen, I don't know nothing about that, okay? All right, okay. I don't know anything about that, but what I do know is whoever you connect your life to has to have the ability to cover you. Do not connect your life with a man who will contain you, that will cause you to die on the inside. Don't do it. And this may even be a warning to a woman who's going to watch this video. Do not marry that man. And he's already made it clear. He's already told you what he wants, and you know that's not who you are. I remember doing therapy with a young lady, and I told her, I said, listen, I wear a size 16 in pants. I said, what size you wear? And she wore a smaller size. I said, what would I look like trying to squeeze my big behind in them small pants? You would be looking at me like, why is Cynthia walking around in them pants like that? So my question to you would be, why would you shrink yourself in order to fit into a marriage? When you are a visionary woman, when you are called to greatness, when you are called to influence, when you are a game changer, when there's a movement on the inside of you that you are supposed to give birth to, why, like Michael Jackson said, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Let me tell you, in some ways, we have to, let me say this. Let me go back and say something. I got to clean something up. I believe in marriage. I believe in the institution of marriage. I believe that marriage is a beautiful thing that God created, but it only can be beautiful if you do it the way that God desires for you to do it. Don't feel pressured to get married because of age or circumstance, because of you've idolized marriage. Don't connect yourself to the wrong man. Many of us have done that, and we have suffered because that man's vision didn't include us. It didn't include, listen, this is my woman. This is she. Yes, she's my helpmate, but there's a vision on the inside of her. There's a movement on the inside of you. When you date, you need, and especially if you're a Christian woman, you need to be asking, what do you see in me? What is your vision for your wife? How does your wife show up? If he just has you relegated to the kitchen barefoot and pregnant, then that's not your husband. If he sees your vision and he believes that you can do the things that God has put in your heart, then that may be your husband. I'm going to say maybe, because you don't want to get with no dependent man and he think you a meal ticket. That's another video. Because if you're a highly successful woman and you're high achieving, you need to be very, there's a word that I can't think of right now, as it relates to your dating. Not just cautious, but you need to be very intentional. There it is. You need to be very intentional about your dating, because you can't connect yourself to just anybody. I remember growing up with a woman. Her name is Mother Royster Bell, and she was a church mother. And then there was a need for her to pastor. And then she pastored in the Church of God in Christ. And this was in the 2000s. And I saw her wrestle with that thing, because there were some beliefs on the inside of her she had about women pastors. But we drove to Ansbach, because I grew up in Germany, and she pastored that church. And then she got remarried. And one thing about two things about Mother Royster, she's going to serve God and she's going to serve at a bank. And you may be like, Smithy, what does that matter? Because after she moved from Germany, she worked at a bank as a teller. And she worked herself up that now she's the vice president of the bank. And not only that, her husband recently died. And even that, she's still serving God. And now she's being promoted as a woman supervisor over the state. She's a visionary woman. And I needed to be connected to her, because I needed to see that there will be some things that God will call you to and you will wrestle with it, but you still have to be obedient to what God calls you to, and he will continue to elevate you. And even when life seems to maybe shift in an area that you didn't expect, but guess what? The vision is still there, and you still have to follow the vision. You still have to follow the vision. And Mother Royster showed me, girl, I'm going to follow the vision. She didn't say anything to me, but I watched her life, and I've watched it unfold. And I've watched her go from a church mother, because she was a church mother, I was a teenager, to a pastor. She wouldn't let us call her pastor. We had to call her Mother Royster. She wouldn't let us call her pastor. But now she's a woman supervisor over a state. And she's a vice president. She serves both spiritually and in the world. She's in that bank, and I know she's in there praying over the people. I know she's in there praying over the money. I know she's doing that. Why? Because she's a visionary woman. And she's able to serve both in the earth and in the spirit. And if you are a visionary woman, you have to be careful on what man you connect yourself to, because she even has a story in that area as well. So I hope and I pray, because this was on me, y'all. I hope and I pray that you receive the message, right? That if you are a visionary woman, if you are a single woman and you are dating, that you do not connect your life to any man. You connect your life to a man that has the ability to cover you and your vision, to cover you and your purpose. Because that man, let me tell you something, let me say this to you. If that man doesn't have the ability to cover you and your vision and your purpose, and you know what God has called and created you to be, that's not your husband. That's a counterfeit. And I don't even like that word, because counterfeit. Okay? That's not your husband. That's not your man. He may be a good man. Let me even say it like this, because sometimes as women, we look for an exit because we look for the exit after something catastrophic has happened. But I want to give you the permission to leave now. It doesn't have to get bad for you to leave. When you see it's not a fit, go. Go. This man is a good man, but that's not my covering. That's not my husband. That's someone else's husband. And they will do great things, but that's not mine. Because he doesn't have the capacity to cover all the things. I want to be a wife. I want to have children. I want to birth businesses. I want to birth schools. I want to write books. I want to be influential. Not that I want to be, I was created and called to be. But if I'm with him, I'll shrink. So it doesn't have to get catastrophic in order for you to say this relationship is not healthy for me. This relationship is not where I'm supposed to be. It's just like when you go in the fitting room and you put them pants on. If you got to work your way in them, baby, you need to size up. Okay, who been there, man? Okay, I'm not judging. I'm just saying we all been in the fitting room and try to put some pants on that was not our size, and we have to say, "Whoop, child, let me get a bigger size." Baby, I'm about to have an aneurysm trying to put these pants on. And then you go get that other pair of pants and it slides right on. And you turn and you like, oh, look, wait a minute. Hey, thick in the bag. I look at these pants, got me looking good. Okay, they're a little high rise, so they got the muffin top and they accentuate the hips and okay, hey. We are to compliment our spouse, and our husband is to compliment us. You should not have to give up what God called and created you to do and your purpose in order to be in a relationship, whether it's dating or marriage. Well, this video is a whole lot longer than I expected, but it's my prayer and my hope that this is well received. Again, my name is Samantha. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in Georgia. And this is Heal the New Sexy. We are going to be having honest conversations about dating, relationships, and healing. I pray that you have a wonderful Sunday, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.